Right now, let's address the power sector. We need to look at a couple of things. First is this report that seems to be indicating that the government is considering a $12 billion bailout plan to revive debt-ridden state power distribution companies. And then, of course, we want to get a sense of what the earnings season has in store for power companies as well. Nikhil Nigania, who tracks the space very, very closely at Bernstein, is with us. Nikhil, good morning. Thank you for joining in. So first, let's start with this. Now, bailouts to DISCOMs are nothing new in this country. But I don't think we've heard about any, serious liquidity injection since 2020 or 2021, thereabouts. Now, we're not aware of the exact contours of the plan, but the headlines are suggesting that, again, some form of restructuring the debt, making it viable, and bringing in private sector participation, which we've seen successfully in many, many distribution companies already. What would your first thoughts be, and should this be any reason to look at, say, a CESC or a Tata Power in fresh light?
No, absolutely. So if you look at the government policy initiatives and this press article, so this press article came yesterday, and then there was the draft Electricity Act changes as well, and a Supreme Court order earlier as well. So you put these three together, there is a very clear direction that the government wants to increase private participation in distribution companies, number one. Number two, they want to bring in competition in power distribution. And number three, they want to improve profitability. They want tariffs to be reflective of cost at power distribution entities. So those are the direction steps the government is taking. To reach that, privatization is an excellent way. Reducing debt or restructuring the debt will be needed as well. So in terms of the beneficiaries of this, as you rightly mentioned, the existing private distribution companies would be the biggest ones, wherein you have four names in the listed space: Tata Power, CSC, Adani Energy, and Torrent Power. All of them have presence in different parts of the country, and they stand to gain the most as more DISCOMs get privatized. Beyond them, the broader power sector also gains, as a healthy DISCOM means more capex for the sector and more opportunities for generators as well.
Yeah.
The only negative... Yeah, sorry, go ahead, please.
No, go on, please.
The last bit I was making, the only negative bit we see is actually the lenders, PFC, REC. While we are positive on the names given the cheap valuations, their loan book could shrink if a part of the debt gets repaid.
Yeah, I was going to ask you whether that's another way to look at it. I was thinking maybe does it help them? But again, that's sovereign guarantee, right? I mean, there's for both REC and PFC, at least in terms of lending to these state DISCOMs. You mentioned generators briefly there as well, I think. But this is all longer term, right? There's no immediate kind of impact because of this, even for the four companies that you mentioned.
No, absolutely. I mean, privatization and distribution has been tried for decades in this country. And at each step, you see pushback from the local stakeholders, from opposition parties. So it's going to take time. It's not an easy task.
So, Nikhil, just to close this point, and then we want to talk about, earnings expectations, etc., because otherwise power demand has been really weak this year, right? So before we get to that bit, so far, the lessons that have been learned over the last decade of privatizing distribution companies, what sort of model, perhaps, an equity debt structure, or what is the model that has proven to be most successful, the kind of, IRRs involved? So when the next set of DISCOMs comes up for privatization, what should be the key points that as investors people need to watch out for? And are all of these stocks, you mentioned Adani, Tata Power, CESC, and I'm forgetting the fourth one, would you expect, participation and interest from all four? Or do you think, say, Tata Power is still stabilizing Odisha, so maybe they won't be as aggressive? So just any further nuance on this when the next round happens with any of these state DISCOMs?
See, the model, government has tried multiple models, distribution licensee, distribution franchisee. The only places it has worked is where the management control and the largest stake is with the private entity. So 51% stake with the private entity and the balance with the state. That's the kind of model which works, where private entity is calling the shots in the DISCOM and they are just a minority. And second part, in terms of differentiating across players, the only place where Tata Power stands out against the peers is they are the only ones who are running power distribution across the state of Odisha. Everyone else has done it only in cities, whether it's Mumbai, Calcutta, Delhi, or Ahmedabad. Tata Power is the only one, although we don't cover it, who's done it across the state and doing it well.
Okay, all right, great. Okay, now to the larger point, weak power demand. It's not something that we usually talk about, but maybe it's a monsoon thing. We just had 6 months of rains across the country this year, right? Are you expecting a pickup in the second half? And from the earnings perspective, which are the stocks that may have some, positive surprises? What should we keep our eye on in terms of stocks and pickup in demand in H2?
So power demand, you're right, it's been disappointing. We are blaming monsoons for everything, but here rightly so. A lot of rains means lower air conditioning load, etc. October data, what we have seen till now is again a bad print. It's printing at -4, -5% power demand growth YOY, so not encouraging. But on medium to long-term view is absolutely intact. Electrification is a global theme, and power demand should come to 1x of real GDP growth, which should be around 6% in the medium to long term. That's what we expect. Second half, yes, possibly better. Help of lower base of last year should help. But the weather needs to be supportive as well for that. On the second bit on impact on earnings, lower power demand and soft power prices impact merchant players the most who have untied capacity. So where, for example, JSW Energy, Adani Green, Adani Power have substantial merchant capacities. The ones like NTPC, it's a regulated business, so the earnings shouldn't see an impact from lower power demand per se.
All right. It's we're talking about weather. It's still raining here in Mumbai, right? It's on November.
It's unbelievable. November rain is actually going to become a reality, right? At this rate.
Which also meant that the famous Mumbai October heat has not really panned out in its full force, which is good news. But
it's good news for power sector, good news for all of us. But I'm just worried about all those consumer discretionary companies, the durable companies who were already impacted by unseasonal rains this summer. And they were sitting on a fair amount of inventory, hoping for some sales to come by in the month of October. And now reports are suggesting that the winter would be much stronger than ever before. So maybe what they...
Manisha tells me it's El Nina.
La Nina.
La Nina.
El Nino is followed by La Nina. Gosh, I think these words are best left to Manisha.
It's much harsher winter, apparently, North India and everywhere, actually, much colder. Nikhil, thank you very much for joining us and appreciate your time here on CNBC TV 18.